Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. And this is a historic day for the wrestling world. Well, I don't really know if you'd call it historic, depending on who you want to talk to. But CM Punk has gotten fired, and Tony Khan actually grew up and put his big boy pants on and actually acted like a boss for the first time ever in AEW and fired CM Punk from AEW for his unprofessionalism with Jack Perry and the all out incident that happened over a year ago, I'm sure. I know people are going to have dividing opinions on this. With me is Gaz, and I'm going to start with Gaz. Gaz, what did you think about all this?
I'm divided. On the one hand, I'm glad that Tony Khan finally put his foot down and said, "No, your ass is fired." Because the thing is that this has been like the first of several incidents involving CM Punk. Now I know he didn't instigate this, but we got the fight from last year. Was it last year?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
last
was
year.
last year. Yeah, the fight from last year, and the fact that he seems to fall out with a lot of people, and it's just like. There comes a time where tolerance and performance just comes out. You're just like, this dude's probably causing me more hassle. Because the thing is that the fact is he overshadowed what should have been their crowded achievement. I mean, 81,000 isn't anything to be sneezed at. And people should have just been talking about that and talking about like the events and what was good and what was bad. But no, it was all about him and like he apparently had like a second thing with Miro, which apparently people said was a joke. I don't know. But I'm a fan of CM Punk. I'm just going to be blunt with you, and I think the wrestling world's better with him in it than him out of it because I think he does a lot of good. Like, for example, he's an old school wrestler. He likes to do storylines and storytelling and stuff like that, and he does quality. The thing is, there is a lot of bad which comes to with his attitude, and I think that is his downfall a lot of times.
Yeah. Well, and you're going to get a lot of divisive opinions. Like, I'm one of those people that I see CM Punk kind of as a drama queen lately in his like most recent years. And I'm like, dude, come on, man. It's not all about you. You need to put your ego aside for the good of the company. And CM Punk could not do that. But you're right, though. Like, he is like an old school wrestler. CM Punk is like the last of a dying breed. But at the same time, that prima donna attitude and acting like you're hot shit, that's not going to work in today's day and age. It might have worked back in the 90s with guys like Brett, Hogan, and Shawn, but it ain't going to fly here now. And AEW, Tony Khan more specifically, did what he needed to do. I know a lot of people are saying CM Punk could be WWE bound. That will be the true day that hell really freezes over because Punk is one of those people that has said he'll never go back, even though technically he kind of did go back when they did that Smack Talk show or whatever the fuck it was, like WWE Backstage or whatever, a couple of years ago. So I don't know about the future of CM Punk. I personally think that AEW will be all right without him. I think that no one man or no one woman is bigger than the fucking brand.
No.
So I in a way, am glad that he's gone. But, I'm curious to see what our other nerd tube cohorts have to say about all this, too. Because I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about this again in about a week.
Yeah, well, Friday. Yeah, we'll talk about it on Friday. But I'm, I'm of the opinion that it's a real shame. Is what it is because the thing is that the guy had a new start. He had a new company where all the dramas and all the flaming bad blood from WWE seemed to be not there, and he's getting paid pretty well. People he seems to be at peace for once. I mean, the the thing he had with MTF where he came out to his old ROH theme. He literally smiled and looked emotional when people were singing, no, for hate,
Yeah.
and he was like, you could tell that he loved wrestling again. I mean, he seemed like, and that's the thing, is like, I don't know where he goes from here, because to your point, I don't think he goes back to WWE. There's
Yeah,
no chance.
I don't see him going back. Yeah.
With Vince and flaming Triple H, both of them don't really like him that much. there's there's no such thing as zero chance with WWE because I've seen people who he's had real problems with go back, but with that, I don't know. I think that bridge has been burned, at least for the time being, anyway.
I think what they're going to do, I wouldn't be surprised if he does go back to AEW, but it takes at least a couple of years before he's back. I don't think CM Punk will go back to AEW for a long time.
Not only WWE. I mean, I don't think he goes back to WWE at all.
Yeah, I don't think he's going back to WWE. I could see a potential return to AEW, but not for another couple of years.
He could. I'm trying to think of places he could go. He could go to New Japan for maybe a couple of shots.
Yeah,
he could go to maybe like Impact. I'm not sure what their finances are now.
I doubt it.
Maybe like a 1 or 2 off. He could go to like an LLW, but I don't think they'd be able to pay him either. Yeah. I'm just trying to think where he could. I mean, the thing is that so obviously he says as somebody who's kind of in the British indie scene, I want him to come here because I know that he would add value to what we do, but there's no way that anybody here could pay him. Even someone like Matt Dallas won't be able to pay him what he's worth.
Yeah, his market value I think is too high, but I think it's going to be one of those things where I think CM Punk needs to go away from wrestling for at least a couple of years. I think it's time that he goes away. You know, let us miss him for a year or two. Let's see where he is, and then maybe if enough cools down, if Tony Khan reaches out to him and says, "Okay, look, I'll bring you back, but this shit stops. Like you got to stop doing this bullshit." And I think that's what's probably going to end up happening.
But also, I do think that what AEW also needs to do is have somebody that the talent can talk to if they're having problems. Like, because that's the problem that has caused all this is that there wasn't somebody Punk could go to and say, "Look, what Jackie's going to do is going to really hurt him. He needs to be told to stop doing it for his own good."
Yep.
And there is nobody like that. There is nobody that he can go to and say, "That's the word."
Yeah, there's no like veteran locker room leader to say, "Hey, yo, don't do this shit." Like they don't have that guy.
Yeah, I think CM Punk was trying to be that, but the problem is with Punk is that he doesn't say things in the way that they should be said. Like he'll say it in a very dismissive way, and that's not a knock about him. I just don't think he's that kind of guy.
Yeah,
he seems like a very plain spoken. Again, I've never met the fella, never known anybody who's quote unquote worked with him, but he just seems to be like hard to get along with.
Yeah, if you're difficult to work with, it's a kiss of death in the wrestling business. And I don't care how much CM Punk is worth. He is never going to be bigger than wrestling. And I know people are going to get all in their feelings about it. I know people are going to be coming at me, particularly because I'm one of the ones that are actually happy that he's gone. And I think the business is going to survive without him. But I also, like I said, wouldn't be surprised if a couple of years goes by and Tony Khan reaches out and says, "Hey, motherfucker, this is your last chance. And if you fuck this up, you're out." I wouldn't be surprised if that happens.
I don't know. See, because I don't know. I mean, as I said, I think the wrestling business is better with him in it.
Right.
Because he's a great mind. He's a good wrestler. He's somebody who people gravitate towards because he's, charismatic and all that stuff. But he just seems to be, the problem is his attitude.
Yeah.
And that has been a problem with WWE. It's a problem with AEW. And it's like, dude, there's got to be a part of it. I mean, he's older than I am. He's a 40, 46, 47? He's got to be now.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah, because I mean, he's like, I'm 41, so I think he's about like, if he's like 7 or 8 years older than I am. I'm like thinking, there's got to be a point where you just look at yourself and you think, well, I've been fired twice by 2 different companies because of my attitude. Things have got to change. I mean, and plus AJ Lee, his wife, has got to be going, look, you keep on getting fired. I can't live like this because...
Yeah, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's got to be somebody who he loves or somebody he cares about who can just have a real heart with him and say, look, you need to look yourself in the mirror and think what you can do better. I'm sure there's other things that people can do, but it's...
Yeah, and we haven't even talked about Jack Perry in this situation. And if I'm Tony Khan, I'm going to be real. I'm firing Jack Perry too. He's got to go Because I said yesterday during our live stream, Jack Perry is expendable. I think you'll agree, Gaz, that, yeah, Jack Perry also needs to go. He's that, like, lower mid-card kind of guy. Like, he's kind of like the 1, 2, 3 kid. First, second match on the card. I don't see him ever getting higher than that. I think that Jack Perry's got to go. He can always go back to wrestling down the road. But, yeah, Jack Perry also needs to be fired. In my point of view, anyway.
I don't know. I mean, like, because the thing is that Jack Perry's is probably like one of your top future stars in the business. I just think he just needs like a veteran presence in his ear just to say, don't do that. So I'm trying to think somebody on the locker room he'd listen to. Like, maybe, I don't know, if we could get David Arquette in, or like, even like an Arn Anderson or something like that, just to sit this guy down and say, look, the things you're doing are going to make you hard to be believed as a wrestler, because throwing yourself into flaming glass windows isn't good for your health.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just think I just can't believe, honestly, it took Tony Khan this long to actually fire CM Punk. Well, I thought he would have been gone a year ago, but
no, I think with Tony Khan, he likes to give people second chances, and I totally get it, because I do too. But there comes a point where a guy's too toxic. Like, as I said, like, this is the second. And I mean, and he had two incidents, one with Miro and one with Flaming Jack Perry. That shows that the guy obviously has severe emotion issues,
right?
That obviously he can't cope with. Now, I mean, as somebody who's been through mental stuff recently, I have all the sympathy in the world, guy. But the thing is, you've got to be accountable for your own behaviour. And if people are finding you difficult to deal with, you've got to say, "But what is it about me that is pissing people off?" and stop doing that.
Yeah. And, and you said it, like, he's like, what, 46, 47 years old. It's like, dude, at this age, you shouldn't be doing this type of shit. At 46, 47 years old, you're supposed to be calm as fuck. Whatever happens, happens. That's the attitude I think he needs to adapt to, is like, oh, okay, I know it's not about me, but I'm going to do what's best for AEW instead of, me. And no one man is bigger than the business. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, like Hulk Hogan was the beginning of the business. Bret Hart was a bigger than the business. Stone Cold Steve Austin was a bigger than the business. Flaming John Cena was a bigger than the business. All these guys that are bigger than the business, as much as they think they are, wrestling went on without them, and wrestling will go on without CM Punk.
Yeah, I mean, it's bittersweet, because it's going to be sad for a lot of people. I'm not one of them, but CM Punk is going to be missed by a lot of people.
I'm going to miss it because I genuinely, and this is not a lie, I thought this was this was going to be like the place he was for like maybe 10, 20 years. Maybe he was going to retire at 60 or whatever it is. It's going to say, right, I had all this thing, and he maybe like leads back, and maybe he's like stayed on like as some sort of executive or some sort of like mentor figure where like he trains like the new guys to be like as good as he is and stuff like that. And I thought, all right, this is a place he could probably be for a while, where he like he imparts some of the wisdom that he's learned over 20 years, and he's probably gonna like. And the thing is that he's so, I mean, kids, even the younger ones, probably grew up watching him, be a wrestler, and it's like, but then his attitude just gets in the way of all that. It's like, come on, dude. I mean, like, you're better than this.
And here's the thing we got to talk about, too. Collision is only, like, as of this recording, a couple hours from now, I want to say.
Guess what it is? Chicago.
Yeah. This is going to be – I got to watch it tonight just to see what the hell they do, because I know Dennis Rodman's on the show. Yeah, Dennis Rodman's going to be on the show, so I'm intrigued, and I'm like, man, I don't know if we're going to be waiting until Friday to talk about this again, because – we might get the gang back together again sooner rather than later to get their thoughts on this.
I mean, tonight Collision could be a total clusterfuck. Let's just be honest with it, because I think Punk was one of the creative voices behind it, saying, "No, we have to keep this quality and this sort of thing, and we have to keep this sort of thing." And the thing is, that's what made Collision great, was that it was a solid wrestling show, and I think Punk was one of the reasons why. because of his old school values. And the thing is, there's nothing wrong with having old school values, but there's a way to communicate that to other people without being a jerk about it. Just saying.
Okay, so people on Twitter are saying Collision is deader than dead because Punk is gone. He was like their main draw. You know, people held out hope for Punk, but people are like, at the same time, it's like you got to be accountable for your actions. I think what's going to happen is now Collision is definitely going to take a hit because now that Punk is gone, it's not his show anymore. I worry that it will become a second-rate Dynamite. That's what I honestly feel like is probably going to happen. But that's just me.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that I don't know. I mean, Collision's one of the best wrestling shows on the air at the moment, in my opinion. But after he's gone, is the quality going to go down? If I was a betting man, I'd say probably yes.
Yeah, most likely.
And that's going to be a shame because Collision was actually doing real well with me personally because I'd watch it. Yeah, to be honest, Dynamite I stopped watching a while ago just because the stupid shit that was on it just drove me away. Like, you know, there's only so many times I can watch people go through plane class windows and do unbeknownst, damage to themselves. It's like, yeah, and everyone knows that wrestling's a work, but come on, be sensible about the books you take because you only have so much. You know what I mean? Anyway, I don't know. But I hope that Collision does go up because the thing is, if it was tied to one man and one man was responsible for being a success, then it wasn't much of a TV show then.
Yeah, that's like saying if like you were going to have a Hulk Hogan be the face of like Monday Night Raw and you centered the entire show around Hulk Hogan, and then let's say he up and left, then what? You know, you kind of got to think of it like that. So I'm going to watch Collision tonight. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to observe it. And I think we will definitely be back up here next Friday, definitely to talk about this because this is too damn big. I'm pretty sure that Ginger's going to have his thoughts. Shredder's going to have his thoughts. Zam will be up here to most likely talk about it. So unless you have anything to add, boss man, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to take us home.
That's fine.
All right, then, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe to NerdTube. We're the greatest YouTube channel you've kind of maybe sort of heard of. So thank you guys for watching. We will see you next time, and we are out. Peace.